Do you know that in 2014, the University of Virginia conducted a study where 67% of men and 25% of women chose to give themselves electric shocks rather than sit alone in a quiet room for just 15 minutes? Think about that. A human being is willing to endure pain, but cannot tolerate being alone with their own thoughts. And that's exactly where your real slavery begins. Sit alone in an empty room for just 10 minutes. No phone, no internet, no people, no noise. And it will feel like a punishment worse than anything else. That's why today, someone else is controlling your thoughts, your emotions, and even your future. You might believe you're intelligent, but the truth, you've become just another anonymous part of the crowd. Now here's your challenge. Watch this for the next 10 minutes without skipping, without speeding it up, because what you're about to learn can turn this fear of loneliness into your most powerful weapon. A weapon that can make you mentally strong, crystal clear, and dangerously focused, the kind of person the world naturally gets drawn to. Back in 1654, a great French philosopher, Blaise Pascal, revealed a brutal truth about human nature, one that still holds true today. He said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. We are addicted to noise. When your phone dies, when the Wi-Fi stops working, that sudden anxiety you feel in your chest, that's not just boredom, that's a symptom, a fear of emptiness, the kind that forces you to face your true self. We are all running in a race where we are actually running away from ourselves. We hide inside notifications, pointless conversations, background music, and endless distractions. Because the moment you are truly alone, there is nowhere left to escape. Loneliness is not some peaceful retreat. It is a brutal mirror, a mirror that forces you to see your flaws, your insecurities, your failures, and your deepest fears directly. In psychology, this is called cognitive avoidance. Imagine this. There's garbage rotting in a corner of your house. Instead of cleaning it, you spray perfume all over the room. As long as you're distracted, that perfume works. But the moment you're alone, the fragrance fades, and the smell of that garbage hits you. That garbage is your mind. Facing yourself is not beautiful. It's ugly, painful, and uncomfortable in the beginning. You're forced to confront mistakes you've always blamed on others. You realize how many years you wasted seeking validation. But remember this, the person who can endure this discomfort, who doesn't look away from this mirror, is the one who breaks free from the system that traps everyone else. Now ask yourself something. Are your thoughts even your own? Philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "The crowd is untruth." The moment you become part of a crowd, you lose your individuality and your responsibility. The crowd makes you weak. Today, that crowd doesn't just exist on the streets, it lives inside your phone. When you cannot tolerate solitude, you start adopting any idea just to feel like you belong. You're forced to confront mistakes you've always blamed on others. You realize how many years you wasted seeking validation. But remember this, the person who can endure this discomfort, who doesn't look away from this mirror, is the one who breaks free from the system that traps everyone else. Now ask yourself something. Are your thoughts even your own? Philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "The crowd is untruth." The moment you become part of a crowd, you lose your individuality and your responsibility. The crowd makes you weak. Today, that crowd doesn't just exist on the streets, it lives inside your phone. When you cannot tolerate solitude, you start adopting any idea just to feel like you belong. You repeat opinions, memes, and narratives created by others and convince yourself they are your own thoughts. You become part of an echo chamber, a closed space where only similar voices bounce back at you, making you believe that everyone thinks like you. There's a cult classic film, American History X. The main character is deeply brainwashed by a hateful ideology, but everything changes when he goes into isolation. Cut off from his group and the outside noise, his mind begins to clear. That loneliness breaks the toxic influence, because when you are alone, you are forced to carry the weight of your own thoughts. You cannot hide behind anyone else's agenda. Now let's talk about the power this gives you in the real world. You've probably noticed this. People who are always available are rarely respected. Anything that is always accessible loses its value. A well-known principle from the 48 Laws of Power says to increase respect, use absence. When you become self-sufficient, when people see you don't need constant company, your value rises instantly. There is a huge difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is weakness. It says, "I have no one." But solitude is power. It says, "I am complete on my own." A powerful idea says freedom is the ability to be alone. If you can walk away from people without begging for attention, love, or validation, you are truly free. But if you cannot be alone, you are a slave. No matter how educated you are, no matter how smart you think you are, if you cannot cannot sit with yourself, you are nothing more than a well-educated servant. Harsh, yes, but true. Your constant need to reply, to stay connected, to be available, is making you a slave. But when you master solitude, you silently teach people that your time and presence have value. Now the real question, how do you break this chain? How do you turn loneliness into your sharpest weapon? You don't need to escape the world. You need to stay in it, but rise above its noise. Starting today, apply one strict rule: enforced isolation. Every single day, give yourself 1 hour. No phone, no books, no podcasts, no music, no people. Just you, a silent room, and your thoughts. The first 10 minutes will feel unbearable. Your mind will panic. It will beg you to check your phone, to do something productive. That's your addiction speaking. Stay still, feel the discomfort, let that poison come out. After 15 minutes, buried thoughts will start rising. Old pain, old memories. This is where 99% of people quit. But you must stay, because after around 30 minutes, something incredible happens. Clarity. Your mind starts becoming sharp. You begin to understand your real goals. You start separating your true thoughts from the ones imposed by society. You realize most of your big problems aren't even real. Loneliness is not punishment. It is a furnace where your mind, your identity, and your character are forged into steel. People who live in noise remain controlled by others, but the one who can sit alone, face their darkness, and stay, that person controls themselves and eventually the world. So if you have the courage to start this 1 hour of solitude from today, write just one word: I am ready. This is your first win. But now comes the next question. What do you actually do while sitting alone? How do you clean this mental garbage? That's your next step. Take action now.